Myth number 1. Ignorance is a solvable problem. Is ignorance a solvable problem? David Orr mentioned in the article that advance of knowledge always carries with it the advance of some form of ignorance. Thomas Mitchell discovered CFC, which stands for chlorofluorocarbons, led to general thinning of the ozone layer. With the development of technology and economy, human beings are ignoring wasteful consumption, environmental degradation, and biodiversity shrinking, which gradually led to potential crisis. Ignorance is causing severe problems.
Knowledge and technology, we can manage planet Earth. Myth. The planet we live on is not something we know a lot about, despite generations upon generations of humans studying it for hundreds, thousands of years. David Orr mentions that our understanding of the very ground we stand on is limited. There is much to be learned about the relationships between the vast systems within our biosphere. What we can do something about, however, is ourselves. This means our own choices. Those of our communities, our societies, even our governments need to be managed wisely. It is not an option to expect the Earth to accommodate our needs or to attempt to shape it to do so.
The third myth is knowledge is increasing and by implication, human goodness. David accepts that the amount of information that we can get is increasing over time. However, this kind of information cannot be counted as knowledge. Knowledge is something that cannot so easily be measured. By the time we gain more knowledge in some modern area like technology, we are also losing other kind of knowledge. It can be a branch of science. It also can be a language or history of a small village. Davy argues that learning itself can never make us better people, and it is possible that it can lead us further from where sustainable life. How? The fourth myth is we can adequately restore that which we have dismantled. The curriculum that used by most modern higher educational institutions are incomplete. When we graduate from a university, we actually do not have all the knowledge that relate to the subject we focus on, and the negative effect on ourselves and the whole society in the long is significant. He used the example of economists. He thinks they should study ecology in order to fully use their knowledge of economy.
Myth number 5. The purpose of education is that of giving you the means for upward mobility and success. What is the purpose of education? Does education equals to success? It depends on how you define the meaning of success. David Orr mentioned that the planet needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and learners of every shape and form. Education is not helping you to be a successful people, but an ideal citizen of the planet.
The sixth myth is that our culture represents the pinnacle of human achievement. We alone are modern, technical, and developed. However, when we view the whole cultural system in the world, the fact is that we live in a disintegrating culture. As Real Mel said, our culture does not nourish those which is best in human spirit. It does not encourage gentleness, caring, and compassion and loving. When we look at the capitalism and communism, we may understand this point better. Communism failed because it produced too little and too high cost, but capitalism has also failed because it produced too much, share too little. That's no cultural system is perfect in the world.
Principle number 1. All education is environmental education. We are part of the natural world. Everything is closely related to our environment. David Orr pointed out that economy is related to ecology. In order to achieve economic development in the long run, we have to focus on preserving our natural capital and look for a cost-effective way to protect and improve our environment so that we can make a balance between cost and benefit.
A second principle. The goal of education is not mastery of subject matter, but of one's person. Subject matter is a tool. It is ideas and knowledge which we use to shape ourselves as individuals. We need not confuse the purpose of education with the content we are educating with. We are learning how to think, rather than what to think. The Greek word paideia can be our guiding point. Pedia is education, is learning. It is shaping of character, and it produces a well-rounded citizen. It is a model of humanity, and the goal of education is to make each student in the image of our community.
Third principle that Davy suggests is knowledge carries with it responsibility to see that it is well used in the world. He agreed with Mary Shelley's idea about tech knowledge and the responsibility. Many serious environmental disasters happen because no one takes or expected to take responsibility for the knowledge created. This is a problem of scale. What we should do to deal with this problem is to use the knowledge in a more safe way with good purposes.
We cannot say that we know something until we understand the effect of this knowledge on real people and their communities. For example, we was taught in business and economic department does not include the value of the good communities. Instead, we focus on how many benefits they can earn and how to make more money. As a result, they may increase unemployment and then lead to some social problems like high divorce rate and so on.
A fifth principle, the power of examples over words. David Orr draws on William Blake, an early 19th century English poet, to discuss the importance of minute particulars. Blake asked, "What is general knowledge? Is there such a thing?" All knowledge is particular. By subsuming that only what we preach need be absorbed by our students, we forget the importance of our actions and of our thoughts. These minute particulars are lessons in themselves, which at all levels of students are heard however subtly they occur. It is essential for those involved in education to provide themselves as role models to students, embodying ideals in all of their operations.
David points that the way learning occurs is as important as the content of particular courses. Process is important for learning. Every course has its own value. Students should be taught in variety and subtle ways beyond the content of courses. Engaging in a campus-wide dialogue focus on what should we done or learn in campus instead of knowledge in the classroom. We should explore more in campus.
David's second proposal is to examine the resource flows on the campus, like food, energy, water, material, and waste. He thinks students and staff should have studied the supply for different kinds of resource, and also the way to deal with the waste after use. This can make them to change the buying power and reduce the usage of resource. Also, the study we mentioned above should also be a part of curriculum that students have to complete in order to graduate. The purpose is to let the students understanding the resource flows and being able to solve real environmental problems. This can help us to build a sustainable community.
Re-examine how your endowment works. We have to make wise decisions when making endowments. Is the endowment we invested according to the Waldorf principles, including protection of the biosphere, sustainable use of natural resources, reduction and recycling of the waste, etc.? Does our endowment play a part in improving energy efficiency and help develop sustainable economy? We have to be aware of this issue.
An assignment for the campus, Goal 4, ecological literacy for all students prior to graduation from any educational institution. David Orr suggests that graduation should only be complete with an environmentally inclusive education that leaves students with an understanding of the finiteness of our existence on the planet. This ecological literacy includes how to live well, principles of ecology, environmental ethics, technology limitations, sustainable industries, appropriate scale, analysis that includes least cost end use research, energetics, carrying capacity, and the laws of thermodynamics. This type of education can give students expanding mental freedom and sustainable material wealth, but opposing these ideals will leave them with nothing. Students should be given the tools to benefit their future, health, and prosperity, individually and as a society. This is what education is for.